I'm Kimberly DiPersia, and welcome to another episode of Just Headlines Weekend Edition, where I watch the top 5 TV shows and movies of the week, as ranked by popularity on IMDb, and I spit out my thoughts to you in this tiny, rectangular-sized medium. Here we go! Top 5 TV shows. At number 5 is Perry Mason, which I am still really digging, because mainly Tatiana Maslany steals this show. She is so friggin' good. Yeah. Number 4 is another returner, Yellowstone. Now, I gave the show another try and I watched it again, and I do have to say I'm actually kind of liking it. You know, it asks the deep moral question of who really owns the land and who really are the true natives. And it draws deep parallels, even in modern times, of the United States history with Native Americans. So it's actually a lot more interesting than I thought. Number 3 is Dark, returning once again, which I totally forgot to mention deals with time travel, which I am a complete sucker for, always and forever. Number 2 is Cursed, which is still so good. I can't decide which character I like better, Nimue or Arthur. It's definitely the sword. Our number 1 spot throws a completely new show on the list, The Umbrella Academy. Returning for its 2nd season, which was just recently released, it's about a dysfunctional family of adopted sibling superheroes who reunite to help solve the mystery of their father's death and also try to prevent an oncoming apocalypse. Yikes! With an ensemble cast that includes Ellen Page, it gives you that wonderful dose of superpowers that we are all so desperately lacking since Wonder Woman 1984 has been delayed. Why? Moving on to our top 5 movies. At number 5 is The Kissing Booth. A teen rom-com. It centers on a young woman played by the extremely talented Joey King who comes up with an idea to have a kissing booth at her high school function for a fundraiser. Okay, now, what kind of school would allow a kissing booth at a school function? I mean, isn't that kind of a little prostitution-y? But I mean, look, I went to school in Florida, so what do I know? At number 4, we have After We Collided. Now, this is one of those instances where IMDb ranks a movie that hasn't been released yet. But this is a sequel to the 2019 film After, so I watched that instead. After is a teen romance movie based on fan fiction blogs of One Direction. Yeah, you heard that right. This movie is about a young and naive college girl who stumbles on some guy who is like supposed to be Harry Styles. He's like this bad boy or whatever. This writer never went to college. Seriously, she didn't. Check out her Wikipedia and it shows. What college student shows up on their first day to get a roommate that's edgier, cooler, little more risque, that immediately, with the precision of a cobra snake, tries to get them to have sex, drugs, partying, all of that. Okay? I mean, the lead girl is passive, timid, does whatever anyone else tells her to, except her mom, who just so happens to be played by Selma Blair. Selma Blair, what happened to you? You were so edgy. You were that sexy, edgy roommate. And now you're just some sad, barely two-dimensional mom? What? Save Selma Blair here, people. Give her a better role. Jeez. Do not waste your time on this film. It is complete trash and a waste of time. At number 3, we have The Old Guard, which is this wonderful adult oasis just floating in a sea of all these teen romances. Why is Gen Z taking over? At number 2, we have the sequel to The Kissing Booth called Kissing Booth 2. Okay, so I actually liked this movie better than the first one. I think it tells a little bit better of a story and it kind of knows more what its flow is. And it does solve the number 1 problem that I had with the movie in the first place, which was, okay, so the whole premise is that Joey King and her best friend have a dance club which enables them to have a kissing booth at a school function, yet they're the only 2 members of that club, and all they do is play Dance Dance Revolution at the local arcade. I really don't think that qualifies as a school club. And okay, so the second movie doesn't really solve that, but they put in a whole lot more dancing to kind of at least make it remotely realistic. At number 1, we have rising to the ranks, Bechara. So I gathered my courage. and my tissues, and I finally gave it a watch. And I have to say, I loved it. I cried the whole time, but I loved it. I actually liked it even better than The Fault in Our Stars. The way that the story is expanded, not only to include more backstory of the characters, but also envelop and adapt to this new culture, it just really heightens the story and the themes, and it just really makes it so much deeper and more meaningful. And it kind of shows that no matter what background you have, the themes of this story about grief and loss and trying to be happy and silly in this world despite it just shows that these are universal human themes that we can all relate to. So there you have it! Another week, another batch of movies and TVs to sink your teeth into. My personal recommendations are, for TV shows, Perry Mason, because I have to know who done it! And for movies, Bechara, because it's a beautiful film and far better than any of those other teen romances on the list. Thanks everyone, and see you next Sunday. Don't forget to watch Just Headlines during the week with Alex R. Wagner as he breaks down all the news headlines for you. Have some fun, stay positive, and be silly.